2012, our project was to create a model dancing hula girl, Hawaiian hula girl, and how we did that was through a series of 4-bar linkages, just like we learned in 352. The most complex parts we modeled were the upper and lower body, and then the mechanism had a lot of thought to it as well. So coming into this, Erik's going to talk about the mechanism to start off and how that all works, and then primarily Dimitri modeled the lower body, so he's going to talk about that, and then Luke here will talk about the upper body and how he did that, and then I'll wrap it up with looking at our physical model.
Okay, so as you can see here, when you turn the little crank on the front, she kind of rocks back and forth. And I'll show you the mechanism inside to make that happen. So it's basically two 4-bar linkages. The first one down here, as I turn the crank, you can see that it has a little coupler inside that's moving the rod connected to the skirt, and it just kind of moves the skirt back and forth once every rotation of the wheel. And we had to make sure that everything was going to fit inside of our little base and nothing was going to contact with each other. We made sure that this little slit at the top here was just enough so that it could have clearance. We had to make sure that front to back there was enough clearance so that everything was going to seat properly and not rub up against different surfaces. And then our second 4-bar mechanism is the joint up here, which makes her bend at the hips, and so she doesn't just rock back and forth, but she bends at the hips. Her upper body moves opposite of the skirt. So we have this long rod coming up here with the joint at the torso, and then there's a little pin up here on a slider. So as she moves around, that little pin just goes up and down on the slider, and she moves back and forth.
My name is Dimitri. I'm going to tell you about the skirt and how that was designed. It's basically just a cone with a series of rotational sweeps, each one a little bit different size and orientation. The trick with this was trying to make it look organic, and things that are organic are random and a little bit imperfect, and CAD is not very good at doing things that are random and imperfect. So I had like 4 different sweeps, and each one was patterned out a random number of times to make it look much more disorganized. And I think the effect worked out pretty well. Originally, before we ran up against the volume budget, each leaf was a lot thinner and they were more densely packed, so you could hardly even see the support cone behind the leaves, and it looked very, very dense. But we had to thin it out a little bit, but I think the message is still conveyed, and it still looks like a grass skirt.
Alright, so my name is Martin Malapira, and I did the upper body of our dancing hula girl. So basically, I modeled this using four parts. I did the torso first, and then I did the arms, and then did the head and the neck. The thing with the torso is, because of the 4-bar, it sways back and forth. There's actually a taper inside the upper body that comes from here all the way up to there, so that there's enough leeway and clearance so that it won't depart and touch. And also we also had to take into account the clearance for the skirt and the upper body, so it won't touch as well, and there's enough clearance so that it can sway back and forth without the hindrance. Pretty much 85% of the upper body was made using variable section sweeps and boundary blends. For instance, the arms that you see here was made through a sketch, and then using variable section sweep, and then Pro E filled in the material cross sections all the way up to the hands. The only parts that weren't made using variable section sweeps and blends was actually the head and part of the neck. Interesting thing about the upper body is for the hair, we actually went to a barber shop and collected some hair. And they're pretty good about generous guide too. So
Another thing I wanted to add on that, like we got the hair from a barber shop. We got the wooden bases, scrap wood, and the paint I had sitting around my house. So our final cost on this project was zero, other than obviously the SLA which Purdue provided. So I thought that was really cool. Physical model we were really happy with. It turned out really well. So here she is dancing. Let me see that. So yeah, we're very happy with it. We learned a lot from this project. We learned a lot more working in Pro E, and I think it turned out very well.
Any questions?
Did you shampoo the hair?
No, but
we styled it a little bit right
yeah.
before our presentation. That's it.
Give it a haircut.
No animals were harmed in making it.
No, as far as you know.